collection, so people want to shop the whole look. Welcome back, Lauren.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry
No
about
problem at all. I filled in the little bits that I knew about this topic, so now we
Oh,
can
so
welcome you
good.
back as the expert.
Yes, I'm excited to chat to you guys.
So fantastic. So I think just before we got cut off, you were telling us a little bit about what you do and the work that you're doing, and yeah, would love to hear about that.
Yes, so I'm a marketing coach and I love helping moms in business, female entrepreneurs to really bring in quality clients, but through organic marketing. So in their content or through networking, but really understanding your ideal clients' emotional reasons for buying, what's happening emotionally for them, because that's sort of where we are, like why we make buying decisions. So we make buying decisions from an emotional standpoint, and then we
Yes.
come up with a logical reason afterwards for why we made this purchase. And when we can understand that, not only can we understand how to approach our ideal clients, maybe compassionately or sensitively, but also help them say yes to a better future for themselves, basically.
I love that. And that's exactly why I wanted to get you on here, because we talk about marketing all the time, but you're one of the few people that I hear talk about it in that sense. And marketing is psychology. It really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to share that with everyone. Ella's just asking the questions if she's missed too much. No, don't worry. We're just getting started on the Q&A part. So yeah, very, very excited to have you on. So one thing you just touched on there was about the target customer. And this is something I harp on about all the time, but there's a few new faces in the group today. So for anybody who's kind of wondering why that's so important, or why having that targeted approach is important, like what would you say to them?
Yeah, so I feel like people have a misconception when they starting out, like that it's going to limit their business or it's going to limit
Yeah.
themselves if they target or get more niched. But actually it creates abundance, because we don't have to have such a huge following for one person to buy.
Yeah.
We can create a small targeted audience that really feel like you hear them and that you can serve them. And when we're niching down, it's not that we're leaving people that can't get our help or things like that. We can still say yes to people who approach us, but it's really so that our marketing is speaking to somebody and it doesn't feel like nobody is listening to us.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to really analyze, like, is everybody going to get the best results from working with me or from purchasing my product? And the answer is no, and that's okay. So it's
Yeah.
okay to have that target that really gets your style, maybe that gets the service that you're offering or the product that you're offering, and then you feel super excited about offering it and selling it, and they feel super excited about purchasing it, instead of just half happiness or
Yeah.
like not getting the right results and things like that. Yeah.
And oh God, I love that. I second everything you just said. That's so perfect. Because yeah, like there's this thing, isn't there, where especially amongst startups that they think, oh, if I go too specific, like I'm not appealing. Like the world is such a big place. Like there's going to be enough, whatever your niche is. Like totally off topic, but I was telling my mum this morning about one of my business mentors who got their big break, like their first business that was big enough to quit their day job, and it was a book on how to train parents. Like that was their thing. And I said to my mom, like, if somebody can make their living teaching that, like there's a
Yeah.
niche for anybody.
Everything. Yes.
So yes, anybody watching it, I know it's a really random and not fashion related example, but yeah, if somebody can do that on a parrot training book, I'm sure that anybody with
Yeah.
a specific fashion brand or idea can absolutely do it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
And I think as well, when you have been specific, you can really get to know that person or that target group so well, which I guess leads into sort of the next question about the emotional buying habits, and how do we actually understand what they are first, and then how do we use that for our advantage?
Yeah, so we need to have had a couple of clients to really be able to understand that, or more often than not, we were or are our ideal client. So thinking back on how we feel and why we perhaps buy the fashion, wear the fashion, what it makes us feel like, and how we want to feel. There's a potential client, somebody I know, she creates garments because she wants women to feel more confident, and she has
Yeah.
like a story behind each piece of garment that is like, this one makes you feel like you can conquer the day or whatever the situation
Yeah.
is, and that gives so much more meaning to the things that we purchase. So really just being aware of your ideal clients and really listening to them. So
Yeah.
if they say, I don't wear baggy pants because it makes me feel butch or something like
Yeah.
that, like, are you selling baggy pants? Are you trying to sell baggy pants? Are they your ideal clients?
Mm.
Who is your ideal clients that is going to wear those pants? I don't even know if baggy pants is a thing, but
It
just
definitely
using
is. It
that
is.
as an example. But really listening to your ideal clients and what they are saying and how they are feeling is where we start to understand where they are at and
Mm.
where they want to be. So maybe they want to wear it, but they don't feel confident enough buying it because maybe they
Yeah.
feel too old or whatever. So really just listening to your ideal clients.
100%. And actually, Ella's asked a question which kind of or made a statement, really, that ties in with what you were just saying, because it's not really about what we want. And I know that's hard because, especially as creative people, as designers, we want to do what we like. But
Yeah.
we, as a business, we have to come at it from a different way. We have to know what people want. And, myself as a designer, I've designed stuff that there is no way I would want to wear. I really don't
Yeah.
like it. But other people love it, and I'm catering to them and their need. And as a business, we have to listen to what they want, because if we're just doing what we like, yes, it's great for us as designers being creative, but it becomes more of a hobby then, because it's just, oh, we'll do what we like.
Yeah.
And to give a bit of background, like when I've worked on with big companies, like major high street names that people know of, we're not looking at it as, oh, what do we fancy designing this season? It's, what has the customer asked for? What was the feedback? This style had a lot of returns. Why did people return it? And also, we can elaborate a little bit more maybe on what you were just saying about the psychology of it, because a lot of people aren't buying clothes because they need clothes. Like the majority of people in the world have enough clothes already. They're not doing it because there's this desperate need of, oh, I have nothing literally to wear today, I better get something so I'm not naked. Like there's
Yes.
another reason behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I 100% agree with that. Um, I feel like there's two pieces to niching as well. Like
Mm.
I know in the fashion industry it might be a little bit different in terms of who you're targeting, but you can target the person that would wear what you want to wear, for
Mm.
example. But obviously it depends on how way out it is and how
Mm.
you're going to portray that to your ideal clients. But really just when you want to create a garment, understanding who is going to buy it, why they're going to buy it, and
Mm.
why it will get them and make them feel really amazing. So
Mm.
then you can still use your creativity, because otherwise we end up creating a business that doesn't light us up. And we also,
Yeah,
so there's
true.
like that middle ground where we enjoy it, but then we get the right audience, but understanding that right audience, if that makes
Mm.
sense. So yeah, just listening to them and really understanding that piece makes it successful.
And for people starting out who maybe haven't got a lot of customer feedback yet, because maybe it's their first collection or they've not made it yet, how would you suggest is best to approach getting this information? Is it just a case of chatting to your target audience? Can we do it through social media? Is there kind of a specific, I know that's a question I probably put you on the spot a little bit with,
No,
but we
that's
can
fine.
talk about.
Yeah, there's no anything goes really. Okay, so if you're starting out, you're not really sure, I would definitely suggest speaking to somebody who has been in the industry, especially if they have the more or less the same style as you or they inspire you. Really just learning from others can be so great. So getting a mentor like you would be amazing. And then yes, speaking to people that you potentially want to work with. So say you have a friend that you would love to style, or they inspired some of the garments that you wanted to make or something like that. Speak to them and hear like, hey, I like have this idea, is that something you would wear? Like, why would you wear it? be really specific in terms of understanding what would make them purchase it. Like try
Yeah.
and think of out of the box questions that would make them want to buy it, or help you understand how they make buying decisions in terms of like their outfits and their fashion and things like that. So talking to as many people as possible, getting a mentor or speaking to somebody that you look up to, that you would really want to be in the same sort of industry or things like that, would really help you so much. Yes.
Yeah, couldn't agree more again with that. I think that's such good advice. And I think one question to maybe add as well, that we sort of touched on, but is why are people shopping? Because we know that they've got a ton of stuff in their wardrobe. So is it that their clothes just aren't making them feel good? Is it that they just love shopping and it's more of a hobby rather than like a need? And getting into that headspace as well. And I think that can help you with so many parts of your marketing, from where you actually show up. Like, should you be marketing on Instagram? Is that actually where people are getting their fashion inspiration? Or are you better off trying to work with, say, the press, because they flick through magazines and get inspired that way? Like those kinds of things I think can be really helpful as well.
Yeah, I think that's such a great question. Why are people shopping? Because you get the people, and that's also really understanding the money piece around how people are
Yeah.
psychologically, spending. Because you'll get a group of people that go like, there is no way I'm spending $1,000 on this piece. And then you get the other people who won't even blink and they will buy it because that is what is important to them. They put value in different places, like, so if you get somebody who has a job in corporate that they're really high up, they will be spending money on good pieces of clothing and garments because their brand is important to them, because what they portray is important, or their confidence is important. So, and that's something that helps them feel confident, so understanding where does your line of fashion that you're creating, where does it fit in? And those people, like, why do they buy? Do they buy because it's a new season and they want something that's fashionable, or are they buying because it's long term? Like, where does that all fit in, and what are the reasons behind it? It's so fascinating when you start digging into that.
Absolutely. And Ella's just asked a question actually about how do we get those people that aren't going to blink and or just buy. I think that's actually quite a big topic. Like, there's a lot of pieces that fall into that. But I mean, I'm happy to jump in and answer a bit. If you have anything to add, then you can let me know. But
yeah, so with that, so for example, with our ideal clients, and if those ones are like won't blink and buy, those are your ideal clients. We all resonate with certain words and certain moments and certain thoughts, right? And this is where the psychological piece really comes in. So that person who doesn't blink and just buys, like, what is happening for them? Like, is it an impulse buy? Do they get to a certain time of the month and then they just like impulse buy? Like, what is that moment or that thought that's going in? Is it like a scarcity piece? Like, I need to buy this thing or I won't be liked, I won't be looked up to, this will bring my confidence to a place where I can land my next job or start my business or whatever. So really listening to those people and making sure that the words that you are using in your content speaks to those people. So I'm just trying to think of an example that would relate to fashion right now. But if you had to speak to somebody who buys a garment that has to last them like 5 years because they want to buy quality, but it must last them a very long time, those people are going to find different things that they resonate with in the fashion industry. So if you're going to use words like quality, long-lasting things, you're going to find that those people purchase something and then 5 years later they purchase another thing, which aren't maybe not your ideal client, because they're not going to consistently be buying from you, depending on who is your ideal client, right? It's not that we don't want to make quality things, but we want to understand who we're attracting with the words that we use, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a really great way that you can kind of impact or have an impact if your marketing's not quite working yet, if you're not making the sales, is to really think about how you talk about your products.
Yeah,
Because I see so many people and they'll just say like red dress made from
yeah,
cotton, and it's too informative. It's just what the dress is. Whereas we
yeah,
want to be using exactly what Lauren was just telling us, talk about the psychology. Like, is this a blazer that's going to give somebody confidence when they go to their
yeah,
next meeting? Is it a dress that's going to get them loads of attention at a party? What does that person want out of their life?
yeah,
Because it's more than just that item.
yeah,
So try and think of, for me, I get super nervous about things. So like confidence is a big one. So if I wear some like a blazer or something, if I'm doing a presentation that makes me feel good, it makes the presentation go better. It helps
yeah,
my career fundamentally.
yeah,
And that's something that's important to me. And finding the things that are important to your target audience. And often they're not even related to the clothes or the fashion or the style.
yeah.
It's something bigger than that.
That, yes, so much. And people, we are like emotional, energetic beings, and we put
Yeah.
so much emotion in things. So really, if you're going to say red dress, like they're just gonna be like, oh, that's pretty, but like I have three in my cupboard or
Yeah.
whatever the situation is. But if you're like take like create a story around it, like
Yeah.
and hit onto that pain point, or not always the pain point, just like where they want to be or why they want to have this. So I know this isn't fashion related, but this is an example. So
Okay.
if you're mom and you are holding your baby trying to put them to sleep, there's a baby carrier company that use the words like I hope this is appropriate, but if
Mm-hmm.
you have been holding your wee in for 3 hours because you're holding your baby, then like get this baby wearing thing because you can actually like go to the toilet. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was very inappropriate.
No, but it's the
No,
same thing
but
because it's a baby
yeah,
carrier. You wouldn't expect
yeah,
that to be in the marketing, but
to
it
be in
is
the
a
marketing.
problem that, or something that mums are considering. And that's
Yes,
exactly what it needs to be. It's not, it's almost irrelevant to the product, the
yeah.
problem, but it makes the people want to buy the solution, which then is the product.
Yes, exactly. And really like hitting on that moment. Like I've been standing here for 3 hours and I can't put my baby down because,
Yeah.
that like whatever the situation is. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, then you'll go in and you'll buy it because it speaks to like that urgency and
Yeah.
that problem that you've been looking for a solution, or you didn't even know that you needed the solution.
Yeah.
So yeah, like definitely.
I'm smiling because put into words is commented, I'd buy it. So that's
Yeah,
enough of a
yes.
selling point. That's all she needed to know.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what those words
Yeah.
can do.
And fashion is no different to that. People have problems that can be solved through clothing. I was talking about the low confidence problem, but people who are kind of the opposite side of the spectrum to me and want to get noticed, like if they wear a dress or an outfit that makes them feel really confident, and then that's going to catch people's attention, that's what they want. Or I know I've got a client who works with swimwear, but it's very much for people who are kind of want to be seen sort of swimwear, like at
Yeah,
the pool party, like you'd see in a music
yeah,
video or something like that. And so the psychology behind her selling is very much like be the one that's seen at the party. And the marketing is very
awesome.
much like this music video concept, because you want to be like, or her clients want to be the person in that music video wearing her stuff.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. So I think the psychology can be so, so powerful.
It can change the way you're selling. It makes such a huge difference when you just change your perspective on like the thing they're getting
Mm.
and like the problem that it solves and
Mm.
what that looks like for them.
And I know we just touched on it in terms of how we talk about the product, but really this is something that goes across our whole brand, isn't it? This kind of talking
Yeah,
to specific people's problems and lifestyles. And even if it's not like a big, like this massive life-changing problem, it still might be
yeah,
just something that irritates them every day, or, every
yes.
month even. And having that across our branding and being known as sort of the solution for something, I think can be really helpful.
Yeah, it definitely is when you can use that in your content, that people know that you are the person to go to when you have the situation. So maybe you're selling garments that are for big launch events or whatever the
Yeah.
situation is, then you stay top of mind with your marketing, and that person has an event and they're like, now I know exactly who to go to. They're the person I'm going to get. So definitely when we consistent with our messaging, we're not confusing people, and they know exactly who to go to when they have the problem that they need solved.
And kind of circling back to what we talked about at the beginning, that's why having that target customer is so important, because you can't be solving problems for everybody. You can't be speaking directly to everybody because people just don't have the same interests. And going so much deeper than just things like where somebody lives and their income and their age and things like that. Because I think of me and my sister, we're basically the same person on paper, but we would never buy anything similar even. Like we're just not the same like that. So it's got to be deeper. It's got to be on that psychological level, not just ticking boxes and I fit into this age category and so on.
And a lot of the time, the demographic niching is just not putting the focus on the right place. It's forgetting the whole psychological piece in the first place. And the piece that we really want to focus on is like, what does our client already know? What do they bring to the table? Why do they find that your product is quality? Why are they looking for quality, for example? Like, why are they ready to buy now without blinking? Like, why is this valuable to them? Those types of things. It has almost nothing to do with demographics in the end of the day. The demographics is the nitty gritty in terms of like, where can I, can I send it there with a courier? And, like, do they have to come in for a fitting and things like that? So, really.
Yeah, agreed. Like when I'm thinking about my marketing stuff, it's always very much based on the customer's mindset and lifestyle and preferences. I'm very rarely looking at demographics unless I'm running like an ad campaign or something like that, when typically you have to enter that kind of information. But I don't really think it holds that much value in marketing other than that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree completely.
You shared some amazing tips. Is there anything else that you think we should know? I mean, I know it's a big topic, but is there something else that's really important that we've not covered? And if anybody here's got a question for Lauren before we wrap up, then feel free to type it in the comments.
Yes, I'm not even sure, but I think just really learn to listen to your ideal clients. And if you think you've niched down, you can go deeper. I can almost guarantee that.
Yes.
You can go deeper and just learn to listen. Also, what words are they using? It's not just about like, the emotional things going on, but are they using specific words? Then when you use those words in your marketing, they feel heard. There's statistics that have shown that people, that waitresses who repeat the order back to their table have a higher tip rate or whatever. They get like a certain percentage higher tips just from them repeating the order back to them. So the people feel heard. And that's what we want to do with our marketing. We want to make them feel like we get them. We understand what they're going through. We know what is happening, and this is why we understand, and this is why we can help them, type of thing. Basically, we have the solution.
I've never heard that about the waitressing, but I can totally believe it because, people do want to be heard. And I think online, like, even though we're super connected to people, you're kind of alone in a lot of senses. So just having someone be like, yes, I hear you, I understand what you want. Like, I can imagine there's some kind of deep-rooted psychology behind that.
Yes. And if we're too vague and we're trying to speak to everyone, then those people don't feel heard. So they don't interact, they don't engage, and they just sort of scroll on. Like when you're more specific, they definitely feel heard. Yes.
Yeah. And they can instantly see this relates to me. Like I should stop scrolling and start paying attention.
Yes, exactly.
We do have one question from Lauren who says, great advice on the copy and the wording and the storytelling. Do you have any advice on the image that's used with the copy? Do you think that, and this is me adding on, like, do you think that the image is kind of an important aspect of it? Or do you think most of this psychology selling comes from the writing itself?
No, I definitely feel that the images do play a role in that because the same with the words, it evokes emotion. So, you can use an image to evoke a specific emotion
Okay,
in
yeah,
your clients and make them feel like they relate to that. So for example, if you are selling a type of lifestyle, that would evoke emotion when they see that, like, oh yes, like I would totally want that. I wish I could create that for myself, and
yeah,
then capturing them. So the image obviously on Instagram is the first thing that captures them. Then
yeah,
your first statement also needs to grab their attention. If that's not going to grab their attention, they're just going to scroll past, right? So
yeah.
we start with the image, really evoke the emotion, what's happening there. I think just especially just like good quality images that, you know, are crisp. We start there and then
Yeah.
like go through and see where you can create emotion in terms of that with your brand, basically.
Okay, that's great to know. So it is very much a case of both, and we need to give them equal attention for having the impact.
Yes, definitely. I think like don't stress out, don't stress yourself out. Like, is this going to evoke emotion? You know, like,
Mm,
is this going to do what it needs to do? But put pride into like the images that you want to have attract your ideal client. You know, like have a look at like, is that going to does that intrigue you? You know, does that intrigue
yeah,
you? And then put some pride into that, and then put it out there, test it. You know, like if you don't take action, you also don't learn and you don't move forward. So don't
yeah.
let this hold you up, but be aware that images can also evoke emotion in your ideal clients. Yeah.
Such a great point. Thank you. And thank you for everything you've
Pleasure.
shared. That's been so, so interesting. And
This,
I've
thank
learned
you.
a lot. I hope everybody else has learned a lot as well. And it's definitely, yeah, a different way of thinking about marketing, which I think is really, really important.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this so much. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Where can everybody find you if they want to learn more about this and work with you on it? Where can we find you online?
Yeah, so you can just follow me at laurensmit.com02. And yeah, so that I'm basically on Instagram every day. If you want to join my Facebook group, I'm there as well. But yeah, Instagram is all good.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm going to link as well in the description when I post the replay of this with one of your links as well, which I think is to your consulting. Is that right? That you do one-on-one work with people?
It's an intensive session. So if you've resonated with what we've discussed today, basically you're struggling to identify your ideal client and the emotional pain points and pleasure points to use in your content creation so that it doesn't waste your time and you're not getting return on investment, then I have a intensive short session where we really dig into this, and this sets the foundation of your marketing.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. So I'm definitely going to link to that below as well. I'm
Thank
also
you.
going to link to the fashion sales kit, which has got some resources for people specifically relating to the fashion aspect as well. So hopefully across those two resources, it's given everybody a lot to think about and a lot that they can, or a lot of places that they can get help with. So thank you so much again, Lauren, for joining me. This has been super, super helpful. And there's quite a few people just joined. So I am going to post the replay so you can watch from the start if you've missed anything.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. Have a great
Okay.
afternoon.
You too.